This is a new learning transfer model that we have from our experience, from our research that we've been doing with our clients, and it's known as habit. And some of you will know it takes around 66 days for us to embed a habit. Well, we want to try and accelerate that through this model. And for those of you that are in the main plenary, hopefully you've got a postcard with this on it. For those of you around the side, Marissa at the back has got copies of this, so we can absolutely share it with you. Because again, we just like the simplicity of this and the importance of creating habits when it comes to learning transfer. So let's have a look at this. So in terms of H is for harness. How can we harness the organization? How can we harness the culture to ensure that learning stickiness is something that's considered as part of our learning design? This is a systematic approach. This needs to be supported by all parts within the organization to make sure that the system is accepting this. Secondly, it's about aligning the learning transfer, making sure that it's practical and it's aligned to the learning, to the work environment, the individual's experience. And that's why when we're working with clients, we tailor our learning programs to make sure that they're aligned to the real life experience that individuals have within their organization. It's also about building confidence for our learners in terms of using their skills, practicing, trying them, making sure that they've got that experience. It's about integrating this into their workflow. So whether that's your PDPs, whether that's through your appraisal process, whether that's through your one-to-ones that you have with individuals, it's about how do we integrate so that at those manager conversations, individuals are being asked, being explored by their managers in terms of what they've learned. And then importantly, it's about tracking progress. As I mentioned earlier, quite often we'll do, or organisations will have an after-action review or a satisfaction after training. What we're interested in is that long-term impact. How can we track that for the long term? So again, that's the final part. And this is where it's an integrated cycle. So it's a constantly evolving, constantly reviewing as we move through the different stages of this model. So how can we bring this to life? What practical things can you do to bring this habit to life? So when we think about how do we harness it, it's things around priming the organisation, making sure the organisation's ready, making sure that we promote the learning opportunities and the learning experiences, and making sure that we validate it, making sure that it's valid and resonates with the learner's journey and their learning experience within their organisation. In terms of aligning, making sure that we engage, making sure that it's relevant, making sure that it's personal to them, so having personal learning goals, engaging the organisation, engaging line leaders is hugely important in terms of maximising learning transfer. When we're thinking about building, I mentioned earlier that part of our experience of learning is if the brain recognises it's had fun during that learning experience. So this is how do we build fun into the learning experience? How do we make sure that it's real for the individuals? How do we test their experience? And things like undertaking activities in the sessions, focus groups, other ways can really help us really make sure that the interaction of the individuals is fun and is real and is aligned to what they're doing. In terms of integrating, this is where, again, line managers, as I mentioned before, are critical. Quite often, individuals, when we're training them, they'll say that the manager doesn't know that they're on the course, or the manager isn't bothered. This is where, as line managers, we have a really important role to play. So how we can support it, what the process is internally, but also making sure that there's accountability at the learner, but also for the organisation. And finally, when we think about tracking, it's about recognising the experience that the individuals had, making sure that we report, that we follow up, yes, after the session, but at intervals subsequently, and also making sure that we promote the opportunity, we promote the opportunities for learning internally so that individuals can see the clear line of sight between what they've learned and actually applying that in the real life for them.